Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at not one but two purple baddies, those in the form of the Transformers Legacy Core Class Skywalp and IGUANUS. Now before we delve into the review, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could all smash that like button, and as always please feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Now we may as well start off this video by taking a look at what is undeniably the most lackluster out of the two, that being the Legacy Core Class Skywalp. Now on paper this guy sounds great, a straight up repaint of the awesome Core Class Starscream. How cool is that? But sadly he lacks in one major department, that being where accessories are concerned. Hasbro did indeed fail to include the Seeker's signature null rays. Honestly I have no idea as to why they decided to do that, and in order to substitute the null rays we've been given what honestly can only be described as some kind of Cybertronian skewer or maybe a taser. Literally I have no idea as to what this is supposed to resemble. The detail and the paintwork isn't bad, but believe me when I say, if given the option between this and the null rays, I would have chosen the null rays any day of the week, as this just really isn't cutting it for me. But as an actual repaint, this guy doesn't look too bad. You can see sculpt work is just as great as on the Starscream release. We've got some nice metallic silver there for the actual chest unit, as well as this wicked purple for the forearms, the feet, as well as these tail pieces. And as we just take a look here at the back, you can see the black plastic looking wicked, as well as the purple pinstriping and Decepticon insignia. And for a very quick comparison, here we have Skywalp compared alongside Starscream. So you can see both of them definitely look awesome, but we are certainly missing those null rays on the side of the shoulders. And if we do in fact actually see Thundercracker, of which I no doubt we will see, and he does come with the null rays, then Skywalp is definitely going to stick out sadly like a sore thumb. Now for those of you who have perhaps never picked up Starscream, I will very quickly go through transformation, just as I hate actually transforming Transformers without showcasing the conversion. So to begin with, you are going to want to take the forearms here and just rotate those like so, collapse the jet wings in, and then just tab that section in there, and repeat the same process here, just snap that section in. We can then combine these two halves, however they'll no doubt detach during conversion later on, and then just split the chest unit, take the nose cone, pull this section forwards, and then rotate this piece here all the way around, and then just snap those two halves together. We can then take these tail wing pieces and snap them there into their jet mode configuration. So just repeat the same process here for this side, fold out these rear wings, and then for some finishing touches, it is just a matter of fact of bringing back over those chest units and snapping them there into place. We can then flip here to the underside, collapse that in, fold the nose cone up, rotate the bot mode head around, and then just snap that in there. And with all that being said, here we have our Legacy Skywalp fully transformed up into his pretty awesome looking jet mode. Honestly, I think as far as repaints are concerned, this guy's turned out great. It is really just the accessories of which personally I think majorly let him down. But you can see we've got some really nice orange there for the cockpit. I do like the black pinstriping around some of these sculpted in details. You can see the silver there for the intakes, as well as those insignias and that purple pinstriping. Overall, a very impressive looking mold. And in regards to weapon storage here for jet form, basically you just take this skewer and peg it in there to the front, which definitely doesn't look the best in my opinion. And here for a Seeker Jet comparison, we've got Skywalp compared next to the Kingdom Core Class Starscream. So you can see exactly the same in moulding. It is sadly just the null rays of which are missing on our new Skywalp release. Now with all that being said, for Skywalp, with every negative comes a positive, and IGUANUS is definitely the major positive out of Core Class Wave 1. This guy is awesome. Now unlike I speculated, this isn't in fact actually based on his Beast Wars interpretation, but is instead based on the Pretender shell, of which personally I actually think is a great idea, and the design has definitely turned out a lot better than personally I was expecting. So let's delve into the details. You can see that in regards to a face sculpt, this guy just looks wicked. I love the reptilian surface detailing that we've got going on there where the helmet is concerned. We've got all of these spikes protruding off to the side, as well as those incredibly menacing looking, piercing snake-like eyes. Overall, just such a fantastic looking sculpt. You can even pick out some teeth there where the underjaw is concerned. And then as we just take a look at the chest armor, a really nice almost blood red there with a wicked bronze over the top. Overall, just such an impressive looking piece. And even here for the arms, you can see some of these barbaric spikes sticking off to the side. More of that reptilian texture detail. and this really slimy, glossy black used there for the gauntlet armor. And a design trait of which personally I'm a huge fan of would be the placement of the bike wheels. As we spin our attention here to the back, you can see how clean he is, and everything does in fact actually stay together so nicely. Once again, considering how small he is, that was something I was not expecting at all. You can see those wheels look great there. As so does that backpack section with the Decepticon insignia smack bang there in the center. And we've even got a really cool reptilian tail coming out here to the back, which does in fact actually become the seat region of the bike, which is a really nice use of some of those bot mode pieces. And then as we just take a look here at the front once more, you can see an almost iguana head slap bang there in the center. I think that looks super, super cool. And we've got more of that reptilian texture detail with the thighs, as well as where the shins are concerned, and those feet too have actually turned out really nicely. Now, in regards to articulation, once again, another mind-blowing aspect about this guy, he's almost as articulated as some of those earlier Studio Series Deluxe releases. So here for the head, we do get a ball joint of which can look up and down ever so slightly. Honestly, it's a minimal range, but it can look left to right to a fantastic degree. We do get ball joints here at the shoulders, which can hinge out to the side, as well as rotate the full 360, ball joints at the elbows, which can hinge back and forth, as well as rotate left to right also. A full waist rotation due to transformation, which is fantastic. The legs here can kick forwards that far, as well as can kick back to, I would say, roughly about that far. Out to the side, rotation just above the knee, as well as a slightly past 90 there. And then finally for the foot, we get a superb ankle rocker pivot. Honestly, this is something that could even rival some leader class figures, and this too can also rotate the full 360 and pivot back and forth. Now, in regards to accessories, much like Skywarp, we get a very similar, almost skewer-like piece, but to be fair, the design on this is actually a little better when in comparison to the Skywarp accessory. You can see, much like the bot mode, we've got these really awesome blood red paint apps, completely coated in this awesome golden bronze. And overall, that's not looking too bad at all. But to be honest with you, unless you combine this with either the core class Hot Rod or even the Skywarp weapon, it's pretty pointless. So all that being said, let's actually showcase some of the combining options that we can do. Now, in order to achieve this weapon combination, you'll need the sword from core class Hot Rod, the taser from core class Skywarp, and of course this weird prong thing from IGUANUS. And I know there may be some of you out there thinking, what on earth am I going on about in regards to a core class weapon combiner? Well, for those of you who recall, on the box art for core class Hot Rod, it did in fact actually showcase him using the sword that he came with, but the handle or the hilt was actually incredibly upgraded and resembled something more along the lines of this. So I really do think that going forward, these core class figures are all going to come with a weapon or some kind of attachment which looks like either of these two, in order to truly max out some of our mainline accessories, of which I'm actually really excited for. So to show off this particular combination, you're going to want to take Hot Rod's weapon or the sword and just plug it in to this piece here of IGUANUS. Now, granted, it doesn't have any form of handle, so that's where you'll now take this section, and I believe this just slides in like so. And there we have all three weapons fully combined and actually looking really cool, when in fact actually in this configuration I think they make perfect sense. And I'm not too sure whether or not this was the combined form that Hasbro intended for these, but if it is, it's definitely something that I'm really excited to see as to where they take it in the future. Now, to very quickly showcase how this sword looks when actually being wielded by a core class figure, you can see that it definitely looks incredibly formidable. Now, for a very quick core class comparison, here we have IGUANUS compared next to core Megatron and core Starscream, and finally core Soundwave and core Hot Rod. And now for transformation. Surprisingly, this guy's actually got quite a lot going on for him. So to begin with, you're going to want to come here to the back section and just disengage this. We can hinge this all the way up, and this panel will in fact actually snap into place just like so. Now, you'll notice here at the top we've got two tabs here and here that will peg onto some slots on the armor. So just peg them there into place. We can then take the feet, rotate them so that the front is now facing the back, and completely rotate the waist all the way around so that this tail section is now in an alignment with this front cockpit region. We can then come here to the underside, and for the wheels, you're just going to want to hinge this section up and then rotate that section around. And then for the arms, we can just angle them down like so. Rotate here at the forearm so that this section is now facing outwards, and repeat the same process. And you'll notice that here on the underside we've got some slots that these tabs will peg into, so you'll want to snap them in there first, and the back of the hands will in fact actually cup around this circular cutout, so snap that in there, and just do the same here for this side, so port that in there. And then in regards here to the knees, you'll want to rotate those, so essentially flip them and then angle them down, and you'll notice how we've got this tab that will peg there into a slot on the tail. So just port that in there. and snap this section in, and for some finishing touches, just reverse the feet inwards so that this port does grasp around that circular port. And with all that being said, here we have IGUANUS fully transformed up into this pretty cool Cybertronian motorcycle. And if anything, this really does remind me of the Earthrise Fang. In particular would be the design here of this entire cockpit region. You can see we've got this almost pinkish red along the side, the Decepticon insignia slap bang in the center, as well as some nice cream white paint apps. And overall, it's actually not too bad for the scale. You can see the seat detailing, which is formed out of the tail. Got some nice sculpt work where these wheels are concerned, and even as we flip here to the underside, you can see some springs, of which I imagine is supposed to resemble some form of suspension. And very surprisingly for the core class, these wheels do in fact actually roll. I was not expecting this at all, as with the likes of the core class Shockwave that we saw for Bumblebee or even Megatron, none of them did in fact actually have functioning wheels. So it's really cool to see that you can have this guy gliding along the ground if you so desired. And for a very quick size comparison, here we've got IGUANUS in the bike form compared next to the core class Skywarp. And so, some final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Wave 1 Core Class, Skywarp and IGUANUS. We'll start off firstly with very quickly discussing Skywarp. The mold to begin with was excellent. I've always thought that the Core Class Starscream was probably one of the best we've seen from this scale class so far, and I still stand by that here with Skywarp. The engineering, the level of accuracy they were able to achieve with the bot and jet mode was great, but the reasoning behind why this guy is so well engineered is because Hasbro are going to release this multiple times in multiple different Seeker color variations. Where I do think this guy majorly drops the ball is where the lack of null rays are concerned. As mentioned at the beginning of this review, I personally do find the lack of null rays to essentially be almost as insulting as giving us G1 Megatron without fusion cannon. You literally cannot have the Seekers without their null rays. I just do not understand as to why that was something that Hasbro found acceptable with this particular figure, and the accessory that we do get included is not a great weapon at all, especially for a standalone release. I guess if you use it to combine with other weapons it looks cool, but just with Skywarp in itself, I personally would have much rather had seen those null rays. I think the colour scheme looks great. I actually do find myself preferring the black and purple over the more grey, blue and red that we saw with Starscream, but in all honesty, I do not necessarily recommend this figure if you're not a massive completionist of the Seekers. And then we turn to IGUANUS, who to be honest is fantastic. The character of course is a little less well known when in comparison to some of the other bigger names that we've seen for this scale class so far, but to be honest, I actually don't mind them packing in some of these more obscure characters for the core class, and I do love the fact that they did harken the design back to the original Pretender shell. I think the bot mode looks incredibly unique and distinctive. I think the articulation is fantastic, probably the best articulated core release we've seen so far, and in regards to accessories, whilst it's very similar in design to Skywarp, I do like the whole combining gimmick that appears to be going on with some of these smaller figures. Transformation is actually rather involved, and I think it results in a pretty decent motorcycle mode. To be honest, it's not the best, but considering the price and scale point, I really can't complain all that much. And if you have to pick up one core class from this Wave 1 Legacy lineup, then it undeniably has got to be IGUANUS. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.